This is the head portion of the mound effigy. And it is entirely by chance that today is June 17th, 2021. That is precisely 4 years to the date of June 17th, 2017, when Graham Hancock and his wife Santa first came here to explore Serpent Mound for his work in researching America before. Now I've actually, and which inspired my whole Ancient America vlog series and documentary, to get out and see some of the sites that Graham covers in the book, as well as many lesser known sites. And we've been seeing many for the last month or so while I've been on the road capturing footage for this Ancient America series. Now actually, this is my fourth time here. I first came here well over, nearly over half a decade ago, and Graham mentions Ross Hamilton in his book. Ross Hamilton is the alternative authority, I would say, on this site. If you want an in-depth understanding of the many various theories, as well as the accepted academic paradigm, Ross's book, it's his work that is going to bring you up to date with Serpent Mound. I actually tried to connect with Ross my first time out here, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Fate didn't have it. The stars weren't aligned. And so I came here on my own with my wife and my daughter. And so what happened was I actually lost my drone here. I had a DJI Phantom drone and it wasn't calibrated properly. The wind took it into a tree too tall to climb. We'll actually see the tree. I'll point it out as, what's up, Charles Course? Shout out to everybody in the super chat right now. My man, Dr. Charles, is watching. But I lost the drone. This place is going to be mobbed come Sunday because the solstice is here. So you can already see there's a busload. I was the first one here this morning. I was the first one to purchase the new limited edition Serpent Mound t-shirts, but you can already see there's a busload behind me. I'm just gonna walk past this tour group and you guys can see the mounds. This is all part of the earth where the serpent effigy right alongside me here. Let's just pass this group.
Well,
that's a pretty drive too.
Yes, it really is. It is. It's beautiful.
So as you can see, there's an official tour group in progress behind me. The ranger is giving the official data on the site. Here you can see part of the mound. Absolutely amazing effigy. What is an effigy? It's, when the ancient people took the earth and created different various shapes, including animals. So in this case here at Serpent Mound, we have this massive, and here's one of the coils, the serpent. You can see here, this all wraps around all these mounds behind me. Shout out to Timothy Jack, the official. All of these mounds behind me, or what appear to be mounds, is one continuous serpent, right? So we have the 7 majestic coils, and there's a lot that could be said about that. I know that the indigenous people have an oral tradition about the 7 coils and weaving between, and maybe Karina could share a little bit about that later. I could bring her on. But let's see. So I think this is, I have to look at it from this vantage point. But what's interesting here is we have more evidence of archaeoastronomy in ancient America here at Serpent Mound. What's fascinating, and we're coming upon the tail right now. And this is really interesting for me. The tail is sort of in this spiral shape. I haven't looked into it enough. I'm certain there's probably somebody out there, either academic literature archaeologist or alternative historians. Someone probably has theories for this. There's probably something established, but me personally, off top, just looking at it, it reminds me of the sundial at Fajada Butte in the Southwest that is used as to basically mark different solar events. Not certain if that's the case. Could be, have to look into it more. That's the tail. I have more research to do on the tail. But what we do know for certain is that there's a true north alignment that runs north-south directly through the serpent. I'll show that to you in a moment. And then these coils, the coil we're about to walk around shortly is the winter solstice marker. And here I'm now walking around the tail. This is the concentric circles here, the spiral tail. A little hard to make out from the ground. It's best to see from the drone above. And so the tail, you have a view here. I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see what I'm seeing here. Here's some signage, the Shawnee and the King of the Serpents. So the Shawnee have the tradition, an oral tradition, a legend about the 7 hills, 7 coils. Wait, let's see if that's here. The Shawnee and the King of the Serpents. According to Tenshkwatawa, often referred to as the Shawnee prophet, when the first Shawnee people came to this land many thousands of years ago, several warriors were lost when they were taken beneath the sea on the back of an immense turtle Island. Anxious to rescue these men, the people call upon their grandfather Serpent, the King of Serpents and the ruler of the world below. They fasted, sang, and prayed for several days and nights. One morning they awoke and found a giant creature with the body of a serpent and the head, horns, and neck of a large buck lying dead, bleeding on the shore. Despairing now of rescuing their lost warriors, they cut the body of the creature into pieces they used for generations as powerful medicine. And again, if you're interested in learning more about Serpent Mound, I would start with Ross Hamilton's work. He is local and he has probably done some of the most extensive in-depth research and has some compelling theories for what's happening here. You can see the tail wraps around here and there's all sorts of people here today. This is the only time I've ever come to Serpent Mound when there are actually other people here. We're just a few days shy of the summer solstice where, well, not this coil, but one of the coils in the back there, the third one, is the summer solstice sunrise marker, where we'll see the sunrise here in the east, and then it will set in the west right by the head. The head is geometric earthwork, gaping jaws, gaping a circle, which appears, some think that it's an egg, some think it could be representing the sun, which also makes a lot of sense in terms of the sun, because the serpent swallows the sun. The serpent is a primordial creature, often symbolically attributed to the primordial waters, the abyss before creation, also attributed to duality. And again, the serpent has many symbolic attributions, too many to list here, but it would make sense that it swallows the sun in the west to be reborn anew, as the ancient people were practicing the mysteries of life, death, regeneration, and renewal. So when I first came here some 7 years ago, when you're still able to fly drones, could you stand where the meteorite could be? So that's further back. So the meteorite, well, what happened was it caused the cliff face. So, and I'll show you from up above, but in the distance where you have the serpent's head, it is perfectly aligned to the summer solstice sunrise, but it's actually sort of it's memorializing the natural landscape, because there's already this cliff, this ridge there that points naturally this alignment. And so it's likely that the ancient people were basically commemorating or celebrating that alignment. And that's right off there. There's a little niche right in the distance. And so the meteorite would have smashed into that niche in that area, which we can't see because it's over the trees. And then that laid the perfect sacred landscape to apply the head. The age is debated. A lot of people, archaeologists, think it goes back about 1,000 years to what's called the Fort Ancient culture. There's also archaeologists that contest that and say it goes back some 2,300 years. This would be around 300 BC. So therefore, we're talking about the time. I'm gonna climb this up before we have this group here. I always hesitate climbing this thing. It's a little rackety, but here we go. I gotta hold tight onto the gimbal so I don't drop it. Yeah, so at about 300 BC, this is around the time Alexander the Great is invading Egypt, you know, right before the Ptolemaic reign in Egypt, sort of the end of the Egyptian civilization. Here in the Americas, some archaeologists believe that this was the product of the Adena culture, which are the predecessors of what is called the Hopewell or Hopewellian culture, which is just a name given to the mounds we were visiting yesterday in that area, because that's who owned the land. It's not what the people themselves call themselves. We really don't know what they call themselves, if anything, or if they even had a need to categorize and identify themselves or document themselves in that way. We often refer to them as a culture, but I mean, they did have modalities of communication through symbolism and architecture. There was a form of communication for me, and they had monumental architecture. For me, that all represents the civilization. And of course, we know that they were astronomers, mathematicians, engineers, which would represent a sophisticated civilization. So here you can get a better view, and you can see the 7 mighty coils, the majestic coils of the serpent. Over here in the distance is the tail wrapped around in that spherical spiral-like shape. Again, sort of reminiscent of the petroglyphs we see at the basically the butte that I referenced earlier in the southwest. So it could be some sort of calendrical sundial. I'm sure there's some theories that I'm missing. I don't know enough about it. I have to go back and read the academic literature and catch up on everything regarding Serpent Mound. But right here we have one of the winter solstice alignments, and then you can see that the serpent's body wraps around like this. This one over here, the third one, is going to be directly aligned with the summer solstice sunrise. You can see in the east, just up above here, the sun is right behind me. So if we were standing this Sunday, which I'll be here for the summer solstice, this place is going to be mobbed. There's barely anybody here now. As you can see, last year they had around 900 people. That was during the pandemic. They're expecting more, maybe double to triple that. There could be 2,000 to 3,000 people here. The Shawnee, the indigenous people, are going to come here. For the first time, it's going to be done differently. Typically, there's one group that manages everything, but things are being a little different, conducted differently here this year at Serpent Mound in order to honor the indigenous traditions and go along with the guidelines of the indigenous people to protect these sacred lands. So over here, this is the alignment for the summer solstice sunrise. And then the head itself, which is the gaping jaws wrapped around that circular egg or sun or circle or womb or whatever you interpret it to be. Directly out there is a niche, a natural landscape that the serpent's head is facing so that it aligns with the setting sun on the summer solstice, summer sunrise, which takes place this Sunday. We're just a few days away from that. And again, it's going to be a really big event here. I may go live. We'll see. Maybe I'll go live during the event. But you can see there's not too many people here today. And this is actually the most people I've ever seen here. This is my 4th time. And typically there's no one here. So I think people are eager to get out, and especially this time of year. This is where I lost my drone nearly over half a decade ago, in this tree right here. I was flying and the wind took the drone into this tree. It got stuck. As you can see, it is much too tall to climb. Its roots start out there in the woods and it goes all the way up here, and it got stuck right around there. Came back a few years later. It was obviously gone, so it probably fell at some point. And that memory card, that was my first drone. It was a DJI Phantom, and that memory card had aerial footage of ancient sacred sites from all over the world. So whoever found my drone got really lucky with a very cool memory card with lots of aerial footage from all over the world. And that lost my confidence in drones until this Ancient America road trip. This was the first time I decided to go out and try the drone again. And we actually have amazing footage of this site that was captured at sunrise. So I'll be sharing that with you guys. Over here, you can see the tail in the distance. And now I'm gonna take you around. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk the path, the tourist trail here, and we'll go around the whole serpent. Edward, glad you're enjoying it. I missed the end of your comment. It faded on me. So for you guys that are in the super chat, the comments pop up really quickly and then they disappear, and I only see one at a time. So that's why I'm not able to address all of you. Everything happens for a reason. Keep going. Thank you. Appreciate that. Why does a snake have a complex shape when only the head plays an important role? That's a great question. Let's go take a closer look. I'm just going to I have to focus my attention on coming down, because coming down is always harder than going up, and there's a lot of little kids, so I want to be very careful.
Mom, go downstairs here. I think. Don't be by my feet. This is weird.
Yeah, you sort of lose your equilibrium up here. It's a little difficult to stay balanced, and the floor, as you can see, is not all hard.
So is that the end of the tail? Okay.
So you're gonna go back down this rackety thing.
Grandmas can climb. It's gonna be down the whole trail, I think. Yeah, I don't want to. Okay. All right, hold on. Go down. We're not coming up here right now. Go down.
So yeah, once again, when I first came here about 6-7 years ago, and it was actually snowing. All of this was covered with snow. I have footage of this in the snow. This was before they put the drone laws into effect, before you could still bring a drone into the park at that time, because they were relatively new back then. Anyway, I flew it up, and then the wind took it right into that tree right there. And so it's been lost. So if you're watching this and you found a memory card and you'd like to return it and it has a bunch of aerial footage, you know that's mine. I have asked the caretakers. I didn't receive an adequate response when I asked them. They had lost a bunch of drones at that time. I'm sorry, they had recovered a bunch of drones at that time, and none of them were mine, so no luck there. So you can see the mound here. Now we're on ground level, a little more difficult to make out. Obviously, it seems like it was intended to be viewed from the sky. In the back is a tail. This is where all the ancient alien enthusiasts would like to insert their 2 cents. I don't think that's the case. I don't want to take anything away from I don't think this is the product of ancient aliens. I think this is the product of ancient humans in a higher state of consciousness. And so, you know, there's a lot to be said when it comes with respect to ontology and the way the ancient people may have viewed the world. They could have seen things from above through perhaps ritual, spiritual practices. You know, you can believe what you want with respect to remote viewing and stuff like that there. But it's quite possible, you know, these people were practicing shamanism, and they were essentially transforming and connecting, harmonizing essentially with animal spirit. So if one were to harmonize with, you know, something that can fly from above, they would have that sort of bird's eye view. And then there's also the idea that this is raised ground. It's bringing the primordial mound to kiss the sky. Essentially, it's your alchemical, chemical marriage of sky and ground. So this is the second, we have the first coil here. The second coil is right here, and then it wraps around. And this is the third coil, I believe, yes, with the tree. So this should be, my orientation may be off actually, and maybe the next one. I have to see it from above. It's either this one right here, or it's the next one that would mark the rising sun in the summer solstice. Although archaeologists will even argue that and say there's no precise marker. They'll tell you that there's no precise marker, so they're not certain about that. And up over here, I'm going to show you where it looks like this was actually restored or reconfigured. Ross Hamilton has written again extensively about this place, and you know, he writes about how he and others are at one with the belief that the site was actually inherited by the Adena culture and perhaps restored by the Adena culture, not built by the Adena culture, who is one of the contenders for the builders. However, again, some archaeologists will try to push it closer to our time and say it was the fore ancient culture. The evidence here rests in the burial mounds. So you can't, this is another view of the coils. The burial mounds are right near the parking lot. There goes my Boston accent for you. The burial mounds are right near the parking lot, which is out that way. And I'll show you, there's 3 mounds here that date back to, I believe it may go back to 2000 BC. And if I recall from some of the historians that have worked on the site, it could potentially be older. So from what I understand, no one is absolutely certain and not certain about the date. So it could go back as far as 3000 BC. But the academically accepted dates are what we've already explained and attributing it to the for ancient culture or perhaps older, the Adena culture. There was radiocarbon dating that took it back. I think there's even some other radiocarbon dating that takes it back to 700 BC. Here's our official group. Let's see if we can, what we can learn here.
We actually paid him to come out and to bring his magnetometer. And a magnetometer looks like a really fancy push mower.
So that's pretty cool. She's talking about magnetometers. For those of you who have read John Burke's book, amazing book, you'll know exactly what she's talking about. Magnetometers are essentially a non-invasive technology. Let's look at it from this angle. It's a non-invasive technology, and I think she was referencing the archaeologist or the scientist Jared. Wait, was his name Burke too? Okay, well, there was some work here, scientific work done that established, I'll go back and look at the placard in a minute, that established that the neck that we see today isn't, or the connecting, where the coils connect with the neck isn't exactly the way it may have been in ancient times. So it has been modified, and I'll show an image of this. It used to come out a little further. The magnetometer was able to determine, well, by using the magnetometer, it led to the results where they were able to determine that there was a reconstruction. So again, this lines right up with some of the theories that we hear about the Adena essentially inheriting and reconstructing the site. So I believe this is the gaping jaw right here, a little hard to make out. And then I think this is, yes, this is the so-called egg or sun in the center right here. If you guys are watching this and you enjoy this and you've been enjoying my live videos and looking forward to the forthcoming vlog series and documentary entitled Ancient America, then I would ask that you please hit the like button, subscribe, share this with others so that you can help me grow this. Here's the what I'm going to call, for lack of better terms now, the egg. And it could very well be representing an egg or the sun or both. It doesn't always have to be one thing. So we're just going down the stairs now and look out over the Ohio Valley here.
Where's the waterfall? There's no waterfall here. I didn't see them. There's flowers. What? A flower?
There's like a nature trail and a Serpent Mound trail.
So as you guys can see, the serpent in American Indian traditions. As you guys can see, it's getting a little crowded here at Serpent Mound, just a little bit. I'm not used to the droves of tourists that are flying in behind me here. Usually we come here and there's no one at this site. Yes, beautiful green space, absolutely. Now I've got a chance to see some of your comments, so if you guys got questions, I will try to come back later and address questions. And please leave a comment in the actual comment section too. A lot of you guys in the super chat, and then when a live video is done, it disappears, and then there's no comments under the video, and it looks like I'm not getting any views or commentary. And that's not good for YouTube's algorithm. So if you like what I'm doing and you want to help support this sort of work, we got to hit those little social media triggers. So please leave a comment under the actual video, like it, all that stuff, subscribe. Amazing, missed that comment, but I will see them later. Here, again, you can see it. So you cannot fly a drone in the park anymore. I think I was around among the first batch that could, but from an adequate distance, outside of the park, you could do that. And so we have some amazing footage from early in the morning that'll be included in the Ancient America series. So just want to say thank you to all you guys, everybody out there tuning in and watching. And so look over here, There you can see the tower in the distance and the tall tree in the back that took the drone. Truth Seeker, what's up? Edward, what's up? Don't forget to plug your Patreon account. Oh, thank you. It's always nice when somebody else says it, so I don't have to look like a shameless promoter here. Patreon, Anyextee on Patreon. At least just visit the page and see what some of the rewards are that I'm offering. If you go to patreon.com/ANYEXTEE, you'll see my Patreon page, and there's a whole bunch of cool stuff there at all different tiers. I feel like I'm giving away a good chunk of value. If there's something more that you guys want to see or want me to add, I'm open to suggestions, but I am really trying to grow that because I do need that support. As you guys know, I'm out here with my 9-year-old daughter and wife, and things have been a little challenging the last couple of years. So the Patreon support certainly helps us. And so you can see the mound here. And if it wasn't for our Patreon supporters, we wouldn't be capturing all this awesome drone footage that I'm getting now. Somebody said collab with Randall. I don't know what that would look like, but I am, interesting that you point that out. On our way back, we will be cutting through the scablands, so I'll be documenting that as well for those of you that are interested in, you know, Randall's been doing amazing work as it relates to the Younger Dryas. I'm more interested in the more esoteric, the sacred geometry, of course, and the more esoteric symbolism. So here we are. I'm just going to pull off to the side here. There's a bunch of people here. These are the coils. This is the tail right here. And I already brought you guys here. So I pretty much brought you all around. David, thank you. Appreciate that. What I'm going to do now is walk you guys to the parking lot. I said it right this time. I'm going to walk you to the parking lot so you can see the other mounds. And these are the mounds that are our evidence for, you know, someone already being here constructing earthworks prior to what the archaeologists tell us, you know, when this was constructed. It's interesting. It looks like a piece of wood. Sam, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Very cool. And so behind me, again, the spiral tail. You want to look up the Fajada Butte, which is no longer open to the general public because humans going there deteriorating the site and it's wearing down, but it's the Sun Dagger at the Butte in the southwest. I'm going to be covering it in my Ancient America series. And so I think more research needs to be done with this part of Serpent Mound. This is where some bright young scholar looking for a PhD needs to come and put some time and attention. Not so much for me. I don't have the time for it. I am going to investigate a little more and see, you know, what theories are out there as it relates to the tail. I'm not certain what alignments or, you know, how it could function yet, but I would assume that there's more. So if one of you young, enthusiastic researchers out there wants to take up the job, here it is. Let's figure out what the alignments or what the purpose is of the spiral shape. And again, for me, it's like the petroglyph. It's like the sun dagger. So maybe there's something there with that. Here's the view behind me of the Ohio Valley. We can only imagine what earthworks were lost over time to industrial farming. You know, there was a lot of plowing that went on. And what else remains out there? Just look at that. Shout out to Isla Bonita. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. Appreciate for Miles. Happy travels to you and your family. Super cool. 11/11. Love the synchronicity. And it is totally a synchronistic day. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it is June 17th, 2021. Exactly. And this was not planned. This is just events led to us getting here on this day. We knew we were going to be here around this time. We didn't know the exact day, but this is exactly 4 years to the date that Graham Hancock and his wife Santa were here at Serpent Mound for the first time researching the site for his book, America Before, which inspired this whole Ancient America series I'm doing now. In part, along with the pandemic, my family and I were just tired of being cooped up in isolation for 1.5 years, protecting ourselves. And so, as you guys know, we used to always travel, and we've been inside for 1.5 years. So between that and Graham's work kicked in some of the inspiration. And I knew there was more that isn't included in his book that I wanted to get out and see. Like I've said before, many of these sites I've seen before. I've got a lot of cool stories at these places. They are all part of my body of work and time and experience in doing this. This is a very special place because it's where I lost my drone. And we have a whole mystery school of initiates coming this way here. So we're gonna keep it moving. Hey guys.
Hi.
And so I'm getting mobbed by the junior tourists. It's good to see young people out here at these sites. You know, this is the sort of thing that's gonna stick with them for years to come, especially at that age. I think all your friends are over there. These guys wanna just follow Anyextee around and get the knowledge at age 5. You know, it's been a great experience for my daughter. She's 9 years old. She first came here when she was 5 years old, so she's able to reconnect with the site again today. And I'm really excited about this weekend. So from here, I have some more sites to check out. Looks like somebody else sent me a financial contribution, I think. I can't see, the sun's in my eyes. If so, thank you to whoever that was. I'm gonna turn this around now. And you can see we've got a mob of tourists here. Grockles, as John Anthony West would call them. And you can see we got grockles closing in on us over here. Grockles over here. Grockles everywhere. My goal is to get you over there to the parking lot. You can see that little mound of land. That's one of the mounds that will serve as evidence for, you know, potential earlier construction here. If you guys are on Facebook, please consider following me on Facebook. I usually post a lot of exclusive images and video, and I do more live videos on Facebook than I do here on YouTube. And if you have Twitter, consider adding me, following me on Twitter at Anyextee. Same with Instagram, just simply ANYEXTEE. Let's take you over here to the signage and you can take a look at this for yourself. This was actually the first time, this is, I think, like I said, my fourth, I believe. And this is the first time that the little center here, the little museum, was actually open. Every time I've come here, it's always been when it's closed, unfortunately. So who built Serpent Mound? So, okay, the ancestors of the Indians of the Eastern Woodland Serpent Mound, but archaeologists disagree with when it was built. So the Adena culture, 2,300 years ago, that'd be about around 3,000 BC, give or take. And then others think the Four Ancient culture built Serpent Mound around 900 years ago. But what they're not telling you here on this sign is about the carbon, on this particular sign, is about the carbon dates that took place. I think there's a carbon date of 700 BC. Don't quote me on that, but I think I recall in some of my research, I read that somewhere. And then these mounds, which I believe date back to 2000 BC. And I think there's a case to be made, for the mounds being even older, up to 3000 BC. Astronomical alignments at Serpent Mound. So here you can see what I was pointing out when we were by the Timothy Jack. Love your work, Chuck. Oh, Chuck must be here. I didn't see him, but if Chuck's here, shout out to Chuck from the CF Apps YouTube channel, I suppose. Charles Koss is here, Chuck's here. All my ancient mysteries guys are here. All right, so look, here you have the winter solstice sunrise, which is that coil right there is the winter solstice sunrise. Then you have the equinox sunrise, the summer solstice sunrise, which I pointed out to you, and the summer solstice sunset, which aligns perfectly with the geometric earthwork of the head. And then we have also that true north alignment. So if you were to take from, I forgot to mention this when we were there, but the center of the tail and drive a line straight up to where the neck meets with the rest of the body here and the head, there's a true north alignment. And this place is gonna get crazy. So my plan here is we're gonna be leaving here. I've got all the footage I need. I just wanna get a few more shots, but we're gonna be leaving here and heading over to Mound State Park, and then a few more mound sites along the way that we wanna check out. And then we're going to be going to Cahokia. And at Cahokia, I've been to Cahokia before, but this trip is twice. But this trip, my third trip, is gonna be very special because I'll be linking up with my dear friend and colleague, Christopher Dunn. And here, by the way, this is the museum. Let me walk you guys through here real quick. This is a really good book right here. $18. You might provide your. I can't hear. Can you say Good one. This is by the archaeologist who worked on the site. This is good. And so they've got these shirts. As you can see, these Serpent Mound shirts, which are limited edition. Oh, and here's the different flint types based on the paleo, archaic, and woodland tools. Very resourceful chart. Over here's the museum. So they have these limited edition shirts that they just printed up. My wife and I were actually the first to buy some, and they're probably gonna go really fast because, like I said, there's gonna be anywhere between 1,000 to 3,000 people here on Sunday for the solstice. Here's the film that they play inside. You see the different pigments over here, how you have almost like the mortal and pestle. Here, serpent symbolism on the shell disc necklace. Some sage. I'm just breezing through all of this. I've recorded this before, and I'll show you guys more of this when we do the video. You can see the stone's been worked right there. Over here you can see the anatomy of the mounds. This is the different stages, the first stage of mound building, the second stage, and the third stage for the burial mounds. Over here's a cool book with some of the artifacts that has been, there's Putnam. People are pouring in from the back here. Here's Karina and Trinity. We're live on YouTube. You got your mask on? This place is crowded. Yeah. So as you guys can see, this place is going to get mobbed here. Want to show you the mounds before we wrap up. Here's the welcome sign.
Oh yeah, we wanted to go to the trail. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'm doing a live on YouTube right now, so I'm just gonna show them the mound, and then we can go. Here's the official signage over here. So as you guys can see, one of North America's most spectacular effigy mounds. Serpent Mound is a gigantic earthen sculpture representing a snake built on a spur of rock overlooking the Ohio Brush Creek around 1000 AD by the Fort Ancient culture. But we know that may not be the case. Even academic archaeologists contest this one and say it could be the Adena, and it could be, whoa, $199.99 from Truth Seeker. Thank you so much, man. I've been meaning to hit you for a while now. Thanks for all you do in the community. I lost the comment, it faded. I'll read it later. Truth Seeker, man, thank you so much. I'm eternally grateful for your help. That's gonna go a long way. That's actually gonna take care of us for gas money, probably for the next few days. So just know that you, in part, help to fund this private expedition of ancient America. I really appreciate that. Everybody wave and give Truth Seeker a shout out. He just sent us $9.99. Say thank you, Trinity. This is my daughter and my wife, Karina. And you can see they're preparing for tomorrow. And this is one of the mounds over here. Take you guys a little closer. So the burial mound, Adena culture, 600 BC to 800. Do not walk or stand on this sacred mound. So here it is. I don't know about these dates because that's 600. I have to look into it. Admittedly, I haven't gone through all the academic literature yet, but I do believe that there's a case, and maybe artifacts they found inside that people are connecting to older dates. But I know that there is a connection. There is supposed to be a link with these mounds that go back 2,000, potentially 3,000 BC. And if I recall, I got that from Ross Hamilton's work, but I may be wrong, so don't quote me on that. And when I do the series, I'll have all that information. I'll give you the most comprehensive, up-to-date, informative vlog and documentary series on the site. I just got to go in and do a little bit more work, which I'm unable to do now as I'm traveling. So now there's another one over here. So I'll take you over to the signage. Charles Cost, yes, 10,000 BC sounds right. Barrow, similar to the UK. I'm blown away by the mounds in America. There's thousands of earthworks, hundreds of mounds, and even stone ruins in the Southwest. I mean, I've been seeing stuff that I didn't even know existed right here in my own backyard. I've been putting all my attention and effort into Egypt and Mexico and Turkey and cultures around the world and the esoteric tradition that I've been ignoring what's going on right here. Let's see, the village site. Okay, yeah, this is the village site. Frederick Putnam, the Harvard University archaeologist who studied Serpent Mound in the late 1800s, described the area as a village site. Actually, two overlapping village sites, one earlier and one later. And I'll just show this to you guys so you don't have to look at the sign. I'll read it for you. Here he found sites of dwellings, hearts, animal bones, stone tools, broken pottery, and many thousand chips of flint. Putnam wrote that, and I quote, "All these things showed beyond question that here had been an ancient village," unquote. The artifacts found near the surface belong to the four ancient culture and date to around 1100 CE. The artifacts from deeper layers belong to the Adena culture around 300 BC. Okay, so I have to find out where the alternative theory is coming from, that it could go back to 2,000 to 3,000 BC, because I'm not certain. But well, we know at least 300 BC. Maybe I'm just confusing it. It's been so long since I looked and studied this site, I thought it was 3,000. Well, we know here it goes back to at least 300 BC. YouTube Harry Hubbard, an avid book reader and has information in Ohio. Thank you, Deborah, for that resource. We're live on YouTube, everybody. Anything's possible. 1999. Thank you. And I hope that wasn't because people are asking to pull up shirts, but it's a very comedic crowd we have coming through now. And here you can see the Edward. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. $20. That's gonna help us out a lot. Everybody that's been throwing in on this, I really appreciate it. Here's the smaller mound, and you can see people are coming in by the bus loads now. And so tomorrow, this place, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna make everybody go home at the end of the day. And there's actually three mounds. So there's this one, there's this one over here, and I believe there's one back there. And I have never, in all honesty, I've never seen that mound. But yeah, this place, again, they're expecting, there was almost 1,000 people here last year. They're expecting 2,000 to 3,000, and it's going to be a much bigger event because of the participation of the indigenous people that will be here, who, from what I understand, will have the site privately for ritual and ceremony from, I believe, Sunday to Tuesday. It will be reserved just for them. But, you know, for this Sunday, this place is gonna get packed. And so if you're gonna get here, you're probably gonna wanna get here early. This is already 3 days. And there it is. So you guys have seen the mound. There's another one way in the distance somewhere, and then there's one over here. You've seen all the signage. We've gone through the theories, some of the history. Haven't talked too much about the archaeological history. I'll get into that in the series. The lawnmower's going off here, so I'm not certain how well you guys can even hear me. And then there's a lot of esoteric insights or symbolism that I would like to add to all of this, but I'm going to be reserving that for the series, for my actual narrative, because there's a lot more that I want to say. But this was just basically a quick run through the site. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks to those of you who have financially contributed. And if you're getting any value from this, please give it a like. Don't just comment in the super chat, but leave a comment in the actual comment section if you want to help me grow this, because we got to try to get this stuff out and reach more people. I have tons of content I have drives and drives of footage from well over a decade of travels from all over the world, ancient sites in China, Japan, Egypt, Turkey, Mexico, all over. A lot of stuff I haven't even uploaded yet. A lot of lesser known, more obscure sites. I've just had a lot going on in the last few years, so I haven't been able to edit, but we're getting to it now. Things are going, I promise you, there's going to be more content coming more frequently to this channel. I got a ton of stuff for you guys. So again, I appreciate the support from everybody. This is Anyextee, ADEPTexpeditions.com. If you want to come to Egypt with us, oh, and Christopher Dunn, I didn't finish. We went into the museum. So I'll be linking up with Christopher Dunn, best-selling author of Lost Technologies of Ancient Egypt and the Giza Power Plant Theory, because, you know, many people know Christopher Dunn for his work with those books, but what a lot of people don't know is that he had an article that actually predates the publication of the Giza Power Plant in Atlantis Rising magazine about the earthworks here, and, you know, make some interesting comparisons to modern day scientific technology, which we're going to cover. It's going to be a very exciting episode. I can't wait to link up with Chris Dunn at Cahokia. This is Christopher Dunn in rare form at Cahokia. This is really special. This isn't just another one of the same lectures or radio interviews. This is going to be something really special that you don't want to miss. So stay tuned for that and the entire Ancient America series. Again, Anyextee. And if you want to join me and Chris in Egypt, we did sell out, but now a few people postponed till next year. So we have two spaces left, and one of them could be, or both of them could be yours. All you have to do is go to ADEPTexpeditions.com. Anyextee, ADEPT Expeditions, Ancient America.